Welcome to another Fast Tips video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I am your instructor, Richard Rost. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to requery records in a subform based on criteria from the parent form in your Microsoft Access databases. This is a case, for example, here we have our customer form, right? And here's a subform containing the contacts for that customer. Every time I contact the customer, I put a note here in a log, right? Well, after a while, you're going to get lots and lots and lots of these. So what if you want to filter this list based on a start date and an end date? Well, that's what this video is going to show you how to do. Okay, before we get started, some prerequisites. First, if you haven't watched my customer contacts video, go watch this. It's free. It's on my YouTube channel. It's on my website. There's a link. I'll put a link down below you can click on as well. I show you how to build the database we're going to be using in today's video. You will also need to know how to get a value from an open form. You got one form over here, you got another form over here. This guy's got to get a value from this guy. How do you do that? Well, this video explains that. You're going to need a little tiny bit of VBA. Don't be scared. If you've never done any programming before, that's okay. It's real easy. Go watch this video, Intro to VBA. It's 20 minutes long, teaches all the basics, everything you need to know to get started. We're literally only going to need one line of code in today's class, but you got to know the right spot to put that line of code. So that's what I teach you in today's video. But first, go watch this so you got some background if you've never done any VBA programming before. And then after that, go watch my after update video. I want you to know how to program an after update event. It's real easy. Basically, when one field gets changed or updated, it runs an event. All right, so go watch this too. Okay, you got all that under your belt? Awesome. Here we go. I'm in my Tech Help free template, right? Free database. You can download a copy off my website. You know this already. Here's my customer with contacts form. All right, I'm going to put some extra records in here so we have some stuff to work with. Okay, I put 3 extra records in. I changed the dates on these, so I got 2 records from 2021, and I got 3 records from 2022. And yes, I'm using ISO dates. That way they're standard around the world. Everybody knows what's the month and what's the day. If you want to learn more about that, there's a video. All right, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a start date and an end date field text box up here on the parent form. We can get rid of this label here. Now, I've already got a date field. Where is it? Right there. My customer sense is a date field. I'm going to copy and paste that. Control-C, Control-V. We'll put you up here. All right, we'll call this, whoops, get back up there. We'll call this the start. All right, start. And I'll slide that guy over like that. And maybe align that to the right. All right, open up this guy, the properties. Let's change this. Let's get rid of the control source. This is going to be unbound. Okay. In other words, this text box is not bound to a table field like the rest of these guys are. These just going to be values you can type in, and literally all they do is affect the records down here. All right, let's go to the All tab here. We're going to change this to start date. That's the name of that guy. Okay. And how about a default value on the data tab? Let's go to default value. Let's go. We want the widest range possible so we get all the records when the form loads. Okay, so let's say our business was started in 2000. So I'll go 2000, 1, 1. All right, so that's January 1st, 2000. Now let's make an end date field right next to it. That probably can be a little bit smaller. Okay, let's copy and then paste. And I clicked on the background before I hit paste because watch this. If you don't, this happened to me earlier, right? If I go copy and paste, you don't see it. Why? It's hiding under the subform object. You got to move things all around to get it back there. So just be careful. Subforms will usually hide fields behind them. It's weird. It's a quirk. All right, but this guy will be the end date. So click on that, and let's change this to something way in the future, like 2100 or 2050. However long you plan on using this database. Okay. All right, let's go to the All tab. Slow up to the top. Change this to end date. So we got 2 fields. We got start date and we got end date. If you're sure, by the way, that all your contacts that are in here are less than today's date, you could make this equals date, right? Because you could put today's date in there. But I know a lot of people, myself included, where I put future contact dates in here to track appointments. So if I want to follow up with this guy like next Thursday, I'll put next Thursday's date in there. So I don't always want to do that. But again, that's up to you. That's why you build your own database. That's why you don't rely on someone else's software. You can make Access do whatever you want it to do. That's the beauty of Access. All right, so let's close this. Make sure you save your changes. Open it back up again. And I got to resize the form a little bit here. Let me go save that. Sometimes when you make a design change and you save it and you open it back up again, it keeps the form's width and height, whatever you save it as. All right, now these don't do anything yet because we haven't told Access to do anything with them. They're just date values that are sitting there. And I'm noticing if I click on them, I'm not getting the little date pickers, right? The little calendar box that pops up. Why is that? Well, let's take a look. Go to the Format tab. Notice there's nothing in the Format tab. Okay, so that guy, I'm going to hold down the Control key and click on that guy. Might as well get this guy while we're at it. Click on the Customer Sense. Change the format in here to short date. That will use whatever your system's short date is. That's set in Windows. Save it, close it, pop it back open again, and it's doing the same thing again. Look at that. Sometimes when you make a design change, you got to go into Design View, save it out like this, close it, and now open it up, and now it opens up correctly. That's, again, another quirk with Access. But you'll see that happen from time to time. People always ask me, why is my form opening like that? Well, because you saved it that way in Design View. So you got to open it up and then save it. All right. The next thing I have to do is I have to tell this form to get its data based on the values in these two fields. We're going to use these as criteria. Now, the form, as of right now, if you open up this form's properties, notice you got to click on it once to get the subform object, and then a second time. It's not quite a double click. You got to click once and then click a second time to get in here, and then you could double click on that guy to get up the property sheet for this form. Okay? On the Data tab, you'll see that it's getting its data from Contact T. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this to a query. Then we can use query criteria to get the values from this form. And you should know how to work with query criteria because this is a prerequisite from the other video I asked you to watch how you get a value from a form. So make sure you watch all these videos. And a lot of people say, well, why do you give us all these videos with different ones we got to jump around and watch all kinds? Well, that's how the Tech Help and the Fast Tip videos work. You got to know the stuff that I've covered in these other videos. If you want to learn stuff in the proper order, take my full course. Start with Beginner 1, Beginner 2, Beginner 3, work your way up, and you don't have to jump around like this. But for these Fast Tip videos, sometimes you need a little bit over here, sometimes you need a little bit over there, and I put it all together for you. There's a reason why I tell people in my full courses, don't skip around, because I cover things in the proper order. But anyways, so we know how to use query criteria, so we need to use a query with some criteria so this guy can get its values from that query. So close this down. Let's create a query. Create query design. We're going to bring in the contact table. That's all we need. Don't need any customer stuff. All right, I'm going to bring in the star that says give me all the fields. And then I need to bring in the contact date. But I don't want to see it a second time, right? If I run this guy now, I see two of them. I got contact t.contact date and field 0. I don't want them both, right? So I'm going to hide that one so I don't have to see two of them. Now I just get the one, right? But I need it in here to use its criteria. Okay? So this is why I said we're going to get a value from another form. So what's this going to be? Well, we're going to zoom in. I'm going to Shift F2, zoom in this. All right? It's going to be, this date needs to be greater than or equal to forms, customer, contact F, that's the parent form name, start date, and less than forms, customer, contact F, end date. Okay, you got that? All right, hit OK. We're going to save this query as the contact queue, contact query. And if you run this now, you get enter parameter value. Why is that? Well, it's trying to find this form, and it can't find it. Enter parameter value usually means it can't find the form you're looking for. It can also mean a spelling mistake, or you type something in wrong. That's usually the... If you get enter parameter value and you're not expecting it, those are the two reasons why. You spelled something wrong, or it's looking for a form that's not open. So we'll just go ahead and cancel that. And another thing people always ask me about this point is why did I use greater than or equal to and less than instead of using between, right? Because between doesn't include any time values on this end, right? If I say between January 1st and December 1st, okay, I'll get between January 1st at midnight, which is all day January 1st, and up to December 1st at midnight. So it won't include December 1st at 3 p.m., okay, because time values are to the second. Here's another video about that one. People ask me all the time. I got between start date and end date. Why is it not showing me all the values from the end date? Well, because you got times on them, and these values do, right? These contacts have times on them. If you just have a table with dates without times, you're okay. You can use between, right? And you can't say between, end date plus 1, because then you're going to get midnight on the day after the date that you want. So in this particular case, this is really only the best solution. Okay. So we've got our query all set. Save it and close it. Now open up the form. It's still pulling off the table, but run the query manually now, and you'll see there's all your records. And yeah, you're seeing all the customers. That's okay. The subform object handles that. All right, the subform object will filter it based on what customer you're on. But let's go over here and change the date now. Let's say I want to see from 2000 up to 2022 January 1st. Okay, now when I run this, you'll see only those dates. Okay, all right, now at this point, we're ready to tell this form, hey, don't get your data from the table, get your data from the query. All right, design view, come in here, double click on this, come to contact queue. It's going to put some filter in here. Get rid of that filter. Delete. Okay, don't worry about that right now. All right, save it, close it, open it. All right, everybody's in there. All right, now let's do the same thing we just did a second ago. Come over here. I'm going to change this to 2022 and then press tab. Now, the first thing that happens is, since this is the last field that I dropped on this form, when I hit tab, it jumped to the next record because it's the last control in the tab order. All right, I hate that. Don't know what the tab order and the tab cycle is? Go watch this video all about the tab order. So I'm going to come in here first of all and go to the form properties for the parent form. Okay, go to other, and I'm going to change cycle to current record. So when I tab past the last control, it just goes back to the first one and stays on this record. The only time I want to go from record to record is if I'm on a continuous form or if I build a form specifically to do that. All right, usually when I'm on this record here, I only want to go down here to go to the next record. So if I come over here and hit tab, it jumps back to the first field. Okay, let's do this again now. Let's change this to 2022. Not 20,000. No, 2022. Hit tab. And okay, nothing happened again. Now, why is that? Well, we didn't tell this subform to requery itself. Now watch this. If I move to a different record and come back again, look at that. The records did filter themselves. Because when you move from record to record on the parent form, the subform requeries each time. So that does work. But I don't want to have the user go to the different record and then come back again. That's kind of silly. I want to just requery this subform every time either one of these values is changed. So this is where our after update event comes in. Remember I told you to watch the after update video before at the top of the class, right? All right, open up the start form here. Go to events, after update, ... All right, code builder. And all we need is me.requery. That's it. Me.requery. And we need that in both the start date and the end dates after update event. That says after the user, me.requery. After the user updates this field and changes the value, requery the form. Okay, now you're going to see there's another problem. I'll show you in a second. Ready? Okay. I like to show you a little bit at a time, but I like to throw in mistakes sometimes too. I do that in my full classes too. I'll throw in an intentional mistake or two just so I could teach you what's happening, because I'm showing you the stuff that people have had happen in my classes over the last 30 years I've been doing this. So trust me, there's a reason behind my madness. Okay, now change this 2022. Whoops, I keep typing in the wrong thing. 2022, hit tab. Beautiful, it worked. Perfect. Okay, now let's go to somebody else. Let's go to a different customer. Let's go to this one. All right, let's filter this for 2020. So I'm going to change this to 2020. I'm going to change this. What happened? What happened? As soon as this one updated, it ran the after update and it jumped back to Richard Rost. Why is that? Let's take a look at our code. Me.requery. What is me? Me is the form you're on. Okay, so in this case, if this guy says me.requery, it's requerying the parent form, not the subform. Okay, the parent form is going to requery. It's going to drop you back to the first record. So what we want to do is we want to requery the subform, not me, but this guy. How do we refer to this guy? Well, it's not me. It's our contact form. Now we want the name of the control. All right, the control is this thing, right? The whole box, not the form inside of it. It's this, the control box. Now it's usually named, right, the same as the form itself, usually, but you can change it, so just be aware of that. Okay, but what I want to requery is contact F. So it's just going to be contact F.requery, like that. And sometimes you might even see it as contact F.form.requery, but just contact.requery should work. Okay, ready? All right, save that. Come back out here. Close that. Close that. I think I moved that a little bit. Sorry. All right, here we go. Now we'll come over here, change this to 2022. Tab. Look at that. It requeried the subform. Okay. And that's pretty much all you got to do. Right? Go to a different record now. It'll keep these as you move from record to record because they're unbound. Right? Let's say I wanted to see just records from 2020 here. So I'll change this to 2020. And I'll change this one to 2020 and 1231. There you go. See? That's how it works. So there's your fast tip for today. Now, I've gotten some email and some people in the forum, from comments that people have said, you know, the fast tips, they're not that fast anymore. This is what we're already at like 16 minutes today. Yeah, I know. Sometimes when I look at something and I go, okay, that's pretty quick to explain, I'll make it a fast tip. And, you know, I'm trying to keep them like under 5 minutes. But then as I get to going and I start explaining and we start having some fun, yeah, I know they draw out a little bit. I'm sorry. Whether it's a fast tip or a tech help, it's all the same stuff. Okay? The tech helps usually have extended cuts because I got a little bit to show you and then I got a lot more to show you in the extended cut. But you know what we're going to do? You know what we're going to do today? Just because I'm in a good mood today. I'm having fun doing this. This is one of those things where there's lots more to cover. And I do cover a lot more with this in my full courses. But let's do a bonus round. Are you ready for a bonus round? Let's do a bonus round. What I'm going to show you now, this is the kind of stuff that I normally do in my extended cut videos and in my full developer classes. I'm going to give you guys all a taste. All right, it's just a little taste. Let's have some fun. All right, we're going to pretend everyone's a member. Then this will be an extended cut. What we're going to do is, there's two things I'm going to show you. This is the kind of crazy stuff I like to do sometimes. The first thing I'm going to show you is, what if we want to put these parameters in the subform instead of being out here on the parent form? Okay? Maybe you want to use this subform on other parent forms. In order to do that, you'd have to have these in here instead of up here. Because now this form has to be open in order for this guy to get its values. Okay? And then a little bit later on, in this extended cut, I'm going to show you how to do this without having to use a query. Because I don't like my database filling up with all these simple, useless queries. Well, not useless, but you got 500 queries in there that all just do slightly different things. That's a bit of a pain. So what I like to do is take this and get rid of the query and put the stuff right in here. We're going to do both of those things in this pretend extended cut, this bonus round. All right? So I'm trying to entice some of you that are on the fence to becoming members and show you some of the cool stuff that we do in the extended cuts. All right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move these into here. So I'm going to just cut them out. Control X, snip, right? And we're going to make this a little bit bigger so I got some room to work here. Come down in here, click on this form header. We're going to slide that detail section down and then just move these labels down here. That. And then click and then paste. bring those guys in there. Okay, and let's make these guys white so I can actually see them. We'll use a little format painter, like that. Oh, but now they're lining up to the left. So let's click, and shift click to get them both, and then right justify them. There we go. Okay, and we'll probably slide this up a little bit. All right, so we move these from there down to here, and I'm gonna slide that up so we got more room now. All right, let's save it and close it and open up the form, and I'm just getting nothing now, not even an enter parameter value. Okay? The query is looking for these fields here in the parent form, though. If I run the query by itself, I get no records. Okay, that's interesting. So forms, customer, contact, F, start date, end date don't exist anymore. Okay, because we moved them into here. So how do we refer to the subform object instead of those fields being on the parent object? Well, the nomenclature is a little bit different because we have to go to forms, the parent form, this form, and then the field. What does that look like? Well, back in the value from an open form video that I asked you to watch, I actually cover this in the extended cut for this guy. Right down here in the members section, it says members will also learn how to reference a value in a subform. So as you can see, another reason to become a member right there. You get all this cool stuff in the extended cuts. But here's the syntax right down here. I did put it on the page for everybody because people always ask me. In fact, one of the reasons I'm covering that in this video is because everybody always asks me this. I got a value on a subform. How do I get the value? So there it is. Okay. And it's not that I'm trying to hold back information. Obviously, it's all free information online. You can Google it and find it, whatever. But it's complicated. This is a lot more complicated for a beginner. So when I make the free tech help video, sometimes I'm trying to keep it simple for beginners who aren't necessarily experts in Access yet. Okay? But this is the format that we have to use. Forms, parent form name, subform name, that's the control, dot form, and then bang, field name. So it's a little weird with this dot form in there. Okay, so let's see how this works in our database. Okay, so let's go to the query, right-click, design view. Let's zoom into this here. Okay, this is going to be forms, customer contact F, and then contact F is the name of the subform, dot form, exclamation point, start date. Okay, see how that works? And then the same thing down here. I'm just going to copy this and replace that with end date. That's the proper syntax right there. Okay, but wait, it's going to get weirder in just a minute. This is the kind of weird stuff that we cover in the extended cuts. Now, hit OK, save it, close it, open up the form. You still get no records. I'm going to explain why in just a second. But watch this now, though. If I open up the query, I got records. What's going on? How come the query can find those fields, but the form itself can't? And if I change this to like 2022, like we've been doing, right? And then I open this up, it's working. Look at that. I got all 2021 records. So there's some weird reason why the form can't get those parameters, but the query can't. So what's going on? Okay, this is the crazy developer level stuff that we sometimes go into in the advanced classes. What happens is when you load up a form with a subform, okay, the subform records actually try to load first. I don't know why the guys from Microsoft designed it this way, but this is how it works. Okay, these records attempt to load first before everything else. But these records can't load yet because these unbound controls up here haven't loaded up yet. So these are trying to load, don't find the parameters, and you get nothing. It's weird. Okay, then the parent form loads around it. It's just a matter of weird timing. Okay? Now watch this. If I move to a different record, there's some records. And if I come back to it again, oh, there they are. See? That's crazy. That's a matter of timing. Okay? How do you fix that? Well, essentially what we have to do is when this form opens or loads, either one, the open or load event, okay, we have to let this load, and then when the parent form is done loading, we have to say requery the subform just once, and everything will work perfectly. How do we do that? Well, right-click, design view. We're going to find the parent's onload event. Go to the form properties here. Go to onload. Where are you? Events, onload. Onload or onopen should work too, but I usually use onload. And we're just going to say right here, contactf.requery. Okay? It's going to load the parent form up, which is going to load the subform. The subform records try to load, can't find their parameters. Okay? The parent form finishes loading, and then it requeries the subform at the end of all that whole chain of events. Save it. Ready? Close it. Open it back up again. Boom, there's your records. I know. It's these weird, crazy things like this. I've been doing this for 30 years. This is the stuff that I used to stay up until 3 in the morning working on a project, and I couldn't figure out why the subform wasn't working. So I'm sharing that vast knowledge with you. Okay? Yeah, it's crazy. I know. Note to Microsoft. Maybe, I don't know, change that. I've gotten dozens of emails from people about that. Which is funny because it works if the parameters are in the parent form. But as soon as you move the parameters into the subform, it doesn't work. Okay? All right, so part 2 of our bonus round. Oh, yeah, hold on. Bonus round part deuce. You ready for it? Okay, this one's easy. Again, just to show you the fun, wacky, crazy stuff we do in the extended cuts. I don't want to have this query here. So what we're going to do is, let's go into design view on this guy. Okay, now, every query has this pretty interface here, the query by design, I guess they call it, right? The graphical way to build a query. But behind every query is an SQL view that looks like that. Okay? What we're going to do is, and I do this often because I'm lazy sometimes. I don't feel like writing SQL. I know it. It's easier to build it with the graphical thing. Sometimes I'll even do it here and then I'll copy it over to like SQL Server and stuff. All right, copy. All right, copy that to your clipboard. Go into Mya. Right? Open up the properties for this form, not the subform object, but this form object. See the dot there? Okay, this is the form object here. Go to data. Not Mr. Data, data, the data tab. All right, not lore, not before. Okay, anyways. So here's contact key is where it's getting its data from, right? Delete that and hit paste. Paste in that SQL statement. You want to see the whole thing, Shift F2 to zoom in. There it is. And these line breaks don't matter. You can leave those or you can get rid of them if you want to, if you think it's easier to read. There, I don't, but that's fine. Oh, no. Accidentally delete some parentheses. All right, so that's basically what was inside this query. And we just put it inside the control source. Hit OK, or the record source, excuse me. Controls have a control source. Forms have a record source. Okay. Save it. Right, remember my famous line from Kindergarten Cop, right? Boys have it? No. I won't repeat that. All right, save it. Close it. Now, delete the query, delete the query. Delete, right, delete. Will it work? Let's find out. Tell her what she's won, Johnny. Boom, there it is. See, we don't need that query because the SQL is in this form. And it still works if I go, bam. Oh, hang on. oh, look what's happening. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. I forgot about this. I totally forgot about this. The after update event. See, this happens too when I goof around in the extended cuts. I run into problems. I didn't foresee this. I never tried it. All right? Those after update events don't come with the controls. They're sitting over here in the parent form. All right? Now, you can cut them and paste them over there, but you still got to rebind them. Watch this trick. Select all these, right? This is the end date after update, the start date after update. Well, let me show you first. If you go into here, go into design view, open up this guy's properties. All right? Notice there's no event in here. And if I go to your after update event, look at that. There's nothing in there. So yeah, I could easily put the start date. I can put the thing in here. But let's go back over to the parent form. Now I could use the Project Explorer over here. If you don't see this thing, go to View and then Project Explorer. This is a nice, easy way to switch back and forth between your different form modules, right? So we're going to go over to our customer contact form, which is where we were before. Cut that out. Come back over to the contact form, and then just replace that with this. Okay? Save it. Now, the form itself might not pick up on it. So if you click on this guy, okay, it picked up on it this time. In older versions of Access especially, these forms didn't pick up on that event procedure until you actually literally went into it like this. Okay? So you can copy this around, but you got to make sure the form sees it, which usually it does in the newer version. Okay, now we can save it, close it, close it, open it back up again, and now I should be able to change this. And then hit tab. Oh, variable not defined. Oh, what happened? Why is it not working now? Well, can anybody take a look and see? Figure it out? Take a look at that. Let me not highlight that. I just gave it away. Okay. Well, we're not requerying contactf anymore because this guy doesn't have a control on it called contactf. This is contactf. See, this naming stuff is all about where you are and what you're trying to reference. Okay. So this form is going to requery me. Right? It's going to requery itself. That I did catch. I didn't catch the overall thing, but I did catch this when I was doing it. Okay? Close it. Save changes, yes. Open it back up again. One more time. Boom. There we go. And yes, this happens a lot in the extended cuts, because a lot of times I prepare the free version, right? The simple version, the tech help, but I don't always prepare the extended cuts. It's a lot of me just playing around and, oh, let's try this. Oh, let's do that. Let's goof around here. And in so doing, we all learn stuff. I learn new stuff every week. And I've been doing this for 30 years. So there's your bonuses. I hope you learned something with that. I hope you had some fun. That's the kind of crazy stuff we do in the extended cuts. And that for today is your not quite so fast tip. Yeah, fast doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a short video. Fast just means, well, yeah, I could do this fast if I had to. A lot of times I'll sit down and I'll be like, oh yeah, I could do that in like 2 seconds. Oh, okay. And then explaining it takes 20, 30 minutes. But there you go. There's your fast tip for today. I hope you learned something. Sign up now, become a member. You'll thank me for it later. It's cheap. It's not expensive at all. And I got puppies to feed. So you want more videos like this? Well, sign up, become a member. All right. We'll see you next time. How do you become a member? Click on the join button below the video. After you click the join button, you'll see a list of all the different membership levels that are available, each with its own special perks. Silver members and up will get access to all of my extended cut tech help videos, one free beginner class each month, and more. Gold members get access to download all of the sample databases that I build in my tech help videos, plus my code vault, where I keep tons of different functions that I use. You'll also get a higher priority if you decide to submit any tech help questions to me, and you'll get one free expert class each month after you've finished the beginner series. Platinum members get all the previous perks, plus even higher priority for tech help questions, access to all of my full beginner courses for every subject, and one free developer class each month after you finish the expert classes. These are the full-length courses found on my website, not just for Access too. I also teach Word, Excel, Visual Basic, and lots more. You can now become a Diamond sponsor and have your name or company name listed on a sponsors page that will be shown in each video as long as you're a sponsor. You'll get a shout out in the video and a link to your website or product in the text below the video and on my website. But don't worry, these free tech help videos are going to keep coming. As long as you keep watching them, I'll keep making more, and they'll always be free. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and post any comments you may have. I do try to read and answer all of them as soon as I can. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, which is completely free, and click on the bell icon to select all to receive notifications when new videos are posted. Make sure you click the Show More link down below the video to find additional resources and links. You'll see a list of other videos, additional information related to the current topic, free lessons, and lots more. YouTube no longer sends out email notifications when new videos are posted, so if you'd like to get an email every time I post a video, click on the link to join my mailing list. Even if you don't want to become a member, feel free to donate to my tip jar. Your patronage is greatly appreciated and will help keep these free videos coming. I got puppies to feed. Now, if you have not yet tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access. It's over 4 hours long, and I just updated it for 2021. You can find it on my website or on my YouTube channel. I'll include a link below that you can click on. And also, if you like Level 1, Level 2 is just $1. Yep, that's all, $1, and it's free for all members of my YouTube channel at any level, even supporters. Want to have your question answered in a video just like this one? Visit my tech help page on my website. You can send me your question there. While you're on my site, feel free to stop by the Access Forum. Lots of good conversations happening there. Be sure to follow my blog, find me on Twitter, and of course, YouTube. Once again, my name is Richard Ross. Thank you for watching this Tech Help video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something today. I'll see you again soon.